What's up, triathletes? Coach Erin here from Full Circle Coaching, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I work with an athlete to get them faster. There's really not much to it, but there's definitely a system that I use that I find that I have the best results with, and I'm going to try to explain it because it is a process and it takes time. The number one thing when someone comes to me is I first try to get them on a consistent training schedule, right? Consistency is the number one thing that's going to get you faster. But beyond that, after initial, baseline of fitness, there's definitely some things we need to include to train differently every day of the week. If you do the same thing at every single workout, there's going to become a time where you completely plateau in the swim, in the bike, and in the run. And to be able to train your different energy systems is the way to get faster. And that's interdependent or not dependent on the race distance that you're training for. So even as an Ironman athlete, I will help my athlete work on his VO2 max because that is ultimately going to get him faster, him or her faster. So number one, initially, consistency, right, and skill. Big fan of skill. If you're a better swimmer, a better biker, a better runner, then you're going to be faster naturally. But after that, I'm going to go a little bit into the training systems and the training zones. So let's just review those really quick. We're going to train all 5 training zones. I use a system of 5 zones. And I'm going to be testing my athletes in each of those zones to create training zones. So zone 1 is recovery, warming up and cooling down. Zone 2 is the equivalent of an Ironman distance pace or a marathon distance pace. Zone 3 would be the equivalent of a half Ironman or a 13.1 mile run, a half marathon. And then zone 4 is the equivalent of your lactate threshold or a 10K run or an Olympic distance triathlon. And then zone 5, energy system, would be your VO2 max. And then 5+ is anything faster like sprints, anaerobic sprints. Now, if you don't understand that, that's okay. But my athletes get educated about this stuff because you're going to be training in all these different systems to become a better athlete overall. So during the week, for a beginner triathlete, I would only have them be doing 2 swims, 2 bikes, 2 runs, and 2 strength training sessions a week. And that's about a 6 to 8 week process for a very beginner athlete. But a lot of athletes come to me and they've already done Ironman, but they want to get faster, or they want to become an Olympic distance triathlete that gets on the podium or goes to world championships. In that case, what I do with them first is make sure their form and their technique is really, really good. But after that, we're always working on form. We are training different energy systems in different periods on the journey to race day, right? So typically 6 months minimum to work with an athlete for a half Ironman, and I prefer a 1-year process for a full Ironman. And then triathlon sprints and Olympics, minimum 6 to 8 weeks for sprint, preferably 3 months for a sprint, and then about 4 months for an Olympic distance. And in that time, I'm creating a periodized program based on their ability, but we're training their zone 3, their zone 4, and their zone 5 energy systems to make them faster. So typical week of training for the base training and the strength building phase would be a long distance swim, open water, right? A speed work swim in the pool with short sprints, 25s and 50s, maybe 75s. And then a skill swim and also with paddles, right? So those are 3 different swim workouts that I would give an athlete each week. On the run, it would be 4 runs typically for a more advanced athlete, intermediate to advanced athlete. A long run, building up from an hour to as much as 3 hours. A sprint run, like preferably the track. Big fan of the track, doing 100s, 200s, 400s, 800s, 1K repeats. And then their 3rd run would be a tempo run, which could also include bridges or hills. And then a 4th run would be a run off the bike, just to get used to that transition feeling. And then possibly a 5th run would be just a recovery run. And then the 3 to 4 bikes I would recommend each week in a different phase of training would be, skills on the bike. Bike skills are huge that most people neglect. Also hill training, a long, slow distance bike ride. Most of the people that I work with train way too hard on their long ride, and they wonder why they're so exhausted and then they can't hit their intervals during the week. And then a VO2 max workout or a lactate threshold workout. So those are the 3 different bikes. And of course, every single athlete that I meet with or comes to me for training, I look at them as an individual. So that's not going to be the perfect recipe for every single person, but that's what it takes if you want to get faster. You have to mix things up. You can't do the same thing in every single workout and expect different results. So I know that was a little bit technical, but I do have a new program coming out, and if you're interested in learning more about it, please message me. But it's specifically for half Ironman and Ironman, but it can be applied to sprints and Olympics as well, but it's definitely not for beginners. I have an 8-week triathlon beginner program if you're interested in that, but beyond that, this program is a little bit more advanced, and we're going to get into training systems, testing, and learning your zones and getting you to become faster and stronger. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it with any friends that you think might be interested in learning more about how to train to get faster in triathlon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow me on Facebook. I have a Triathlon Obsessed Facebook group that I've been doing more lives on there. And I'm on Instagram too. So wishing you guys well. Have a great weekend. Please stay safe.